How's it going, everybody? Ni hao. Welcome to a brand new episode of Crypto Clout. I'm your host, FaZe Crypto, and today we'll be talking about one of our favorite cryptocurrencies to discuss on this channel. Yes, you guessed it, Cardano. And of course, while we're moving forward into the new decade, I think that these videos are pretty important, especially when we want to talk about the current valuation. Then, of course, I want to talk about the Coinbase potential listing for Cardano in 2020 and what that could mean. And of course, we want to talk about Cardano as when we want to look at the verification of what happened involving different like retail products, in a particular high end variety. When we want to look at the decision that was made, earlier in the year, where essentially Cardano could take the place of a sort of a supply chain blockchain, and it's interesting that Cardano was chosen in this instance, and I think that it will be interesting to see what happens as a lot of these different developments push forward. And of course, I would like to start off this video with this news article: Bitcoin, the only asset class in the world that's not rallying. Peter Schiff, and I think that this is interesting. It does sort of show that there's not really that correlation that a lot of people often pointed out, which he sort of does touch upon. Bitcoin is not disappointing those who claim its true value is that it's a non-correlated asset. Every asset class in the world is rallying into the end of the year except Bitcoin. Not sure what value this adds, but at least Bitcoin is meeting expectations on something. And I think he sort of hits the nail on the head. So Schiff made an remark on that Bitcoin had finally become an uncorrelated asset, something that is likely to be celebrated. However, this time around, Bitcoin remains on the sidelines while other asset classes are flourishing. The Nasdaq, of course, a widely tracked stock market index breached 9K points. And I think that he does this sort of is a good segue to talk about the current price of Bitcoin. Let's think about it. People, when they thought that the world was coming to an end, were all buying Bitcoin. Right now, they're seeing their wallets are getting fatter, so they're not buying Bitcoin, and that's good for us. At least that's good for me. Someone who's interested in accumulating Bitcoin. I like to get it at a cheap price. I want to fill my bags when it's cheaper, and I think that it's funny right now. $7,200 Bitcoin. It's going to be interesting into the next part of the year, but this also applies to Cardano. At about 3 cents right now. Very, very cheap, very, very affordable. Now, of course, remember this video is for entertainment, educational purposes only. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor. Make sure you do your own research. Remember, I'm not your dad. But, it is interesting nonetheless. Swiss rating for Cardano calls it the most deeply undervalued crypto asset. I'm inclined to agree with this overall sentiment. Let's check out this right here. So of course, Cardano makes a slight recovery from the drop to December 2018 level. Testnet staking sees the impressive start 2020 Shelley mainnet releases will open it for all, which is of course something big that we all have to look forward to, especially on the Cardano team. And of course, Cardano is easily one of the most undervalued crypto. So Cardano may have made an impressive start with 17% coin staked, but it's not unseen in the market. Tron, of course, in QTM also saw similar percentage of their coins staked. I think that right now we're sort of just going through the motions. Anybody who looks at cryptocurrency over any amount of years, I think that you could see a definite pattern. This time last year, I think Bitcoin was somewhere around the $3,000 mark, and we made it through that. I have no question that we won't make it through this right here. This video, or at least that comment made the video, by Altcoin Daily was pretty interesting, where he talked about how the fact that Cardano has managed to sort of put its toes in the water. It hasn't totally jumped in with a product, which is something that's pretty interesting, and definitely does go a long way. I mean, the fact that there's not anything there tangibly for people to criticize isn't of itself its own source of criticism, but at the same time, I think that it is an interesting sentiment, and it does sort of go a long way. And of course, this Pomp tweet right here is also interesting. Addition to this information in this video, of course, more transactions, more volume, more hash rate. Don't tell the Twitter trolls, but Bitcoin is only getting stronger and more popular. Bitcoin has had a record 2019 with transaction count, transaction volume, USD equivalent basis, the hash rate reaching new all-time highs this past year, which is pretty interesting information to point to as well. And I'd also like to talk about this. Bitcoin derivatives market could soon replace positive figures of traditional market. Sort of does go along with the overall theme of this video. So crypto derivatives exploded in the 2019 market as the cryptocurrency market entered a phase of maturity in the recently, of course, this space. The increasing availability of cryptocurrency derivative products has been one of the main attractions for institutional traders and investors. In traditional markets, options take up 20%. The derivatives market, with the other 80% being futures. We will probably see a similar trend for Bitcoin futures options split too. Options will be useful in allowing institutional investors to further hedge or place their bets in this market. I think it may be slow and will eventually grow to 20% of the derivatives market, mirroring traditional markets. So, overall, you guys know where my stance is. I think 2020 is going to be a very interesting year to pay attention to cryptocurrency. This one right here, Ripple XRP, is being adopted by almost every Japanese bank, according to the CEO. And of course, David Jeans, the CEO of blockchain, CipherTrace, made a bombshell announcement that almost every Japanese bank was starting to use the XRP cryptocurrency. The virus is spreading, people. Whether or not you can open your eyes to it, you just gotta look past a lot of the different bullshit. This is because the technology is there. This is also another reason why this video relates so well to Cardano and our discussion, our ongoing discussion about Cardano and a lot of the different aspects of the technology, that the blockchain that's there, and of course what we can expect to see from it as things continue to develop, move forward, and of course evolve. And I think that it will be interesting to see, which is of course another reason why I view Cardano as more of a competitor in the wake of what Bitcoin has up and coming. So Cardano, the most deeply undervalued crypto asset, very interesting indeed. So of course, the Bitcoin price prediction is skyrocket to 100K in 2020. Of course, it could be interesting. So if you happen to be tired of traders on Twitter, here's your take on Bitcoin's price by none other than the founder of the now defunct drug market, Silk Road. Thus, we have a price and target of the end of the wave eye of 100K is some in the near 2020. However, he was crypto enthusiast, of course, and he warns the market moves are not always proportional, and his numbers, which are based on Bitcoin's past, yada yada, also means it might not be precise. So, of course, do your own research. I don't expect 100K by the end of 2020. It sounds a bit too soon. Sounds more like a pipe dream to me. But it is an interesting sentiment. I think 2020, might be a little soon, but I think it is an inevitability nonetheless to see something of that sort, and a long enough time frame, especially maybe like 5 years, easily. Anyways, Cardano very interesting project to pay attention to. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this content. I'll see you guys next video. Have a good one.